Welcome to Progressive Movement Towards Christ. And this is Pastor Keith. And again, I come to you with another sermon, and this sermon is entitled Blessing the Greedy. Blessing the Greedy. And again, you can reach us at any podcast venue you listen to podcasts on. You can also reach us at www.movementtowardschrist.com. That's www.movementtowardschrist.com. I'm be coming from several different books in the Bible, and greed is mentioned many times in the Bible because it's one of the deadly sins, the 7 deadly sins, and greedy is just, gluttonous. It's having too much of something, wanting too much of something, needing too much of something, except when it is our Lord Jesus Christ. Now, I'm going to talk about greed because my wife was mentioning the other day that she wanted me to talk about greed because there's so many greedy people in the world, and it reflects when one of our family passes. Greed comes in, and people want everything that person had. Everything. This is mine, this is mine, this is mine. This is what I need, this is what I need, this is what I want. Now, I'll just give you an example. I had a cousin, and her mother passed away, and before the mother passed, the hospital, she was in the hospital called her, and she told the hospital staff that when she dies, call me. That was bad enough, but you know what? She sent a message out to everyone in the family. She said, if my mother gave you anything, I want it. I want it back. I want it all. I want it back. That's just greedy. If you're given something by your aunt or your cousin, whatever, your sister gives you something, then it's yours. Just because that person passes away doesn't mean that it legally belongs to one of the heirs. It's already been given away. It's already been promised to someone. It's being greedy. It's wanting everything. And I mean, this woman got thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars from her will, but she wanted everything that was given to others back. It's her greed. Let's go to Psalms 10 let's go to Mark 7 and 22. The full chapter is on the 7 deadly sins, which is adultery, greed, malice, deceit, lewdness, envy, slander, arrogance, and folly. And but let's get down to the greedy part of it. Now in Psalms 10 and 3 it says, he boasts about the cravings of his heart. He blesses the greedy and reviles the Lord. So, somebody who's greedy, somebody that's possessed by greediness, boasts about his cravings in his heart. He tells you that he desires more money or more this, more that, more food, whatever it is. And he blesses the greedy. He loves people like him. And he reviles the Lord. He reviles the Lord. Now Proverbs 15 and 27 reads, the greedy bring ruin to their households, but the one who hates bribes will live. They say politicians and all of a sudden they take bribes. Well, we take bribes too. It may not be thousands and thousands of dollars, or you vote for this, you vote for that. But they say, if you do this for me, then I'll do that for you. That's almost a bribe. That's almost like a bribe. If you take something you desire for something that's sinful or not right, it's a wrong way of doing things, and that's taking a bribe. That's being greedy. Because you desire something, money or whatever it is, and a new car or whatever. If you do it and do it for the wrong reasons, then that's a bribe. Now, in Proverbs 28 and 25, it reads, "A greedy stir up conflict, but those who trust in the Lord will prosper." Greedy do stir up conflict because they're going against others. Because I tell you this, think about this. If he's getting richer, the greedy person, then somebody's getting poorer. Greedy people cheat, lie, and they steal other people's things so they can get rich. You know, we had a president, or have a president that it came out that he had contractors or people working in his buildings, and he refused to pay them. How did he become president? How did a greedy man become president? But that's what what's happening in the world today. They are becoming stronger and stronger and stronger because there's just more of them than God's people. Now in Proverbs 29:4 reads, "By justice a king gives a country stability, but those who are greedy for bribes tear it down." Just like I was saying before, those who take bribes take more money than they should have, take money away from others, creates instability, tears the city down, tears the country down. For the greedy, destroy anything that's in their way of getting what they want. Now in Isaiah 57:17 it says, "I was enraged by their sinful greed. I punished them and hid my face in anger, yet they kept on in their willful ways." So no matter, see, greedy takes over your body, it takes over your mind. And even if they're judged and they're punished for what they have done, sometimes the punishment isn't enough because they continue their willful ways because that's what they will, that's what they want. So they continue to be greedy even though they were punished. Now Jeremiah 6:13 reads, "From the least to the greatest, all the greedy for gain, prophets and priests alike, all practice deceit." So you could be a carpenter, a lawyer, a doctor, somebody working in the mines, someone who sells candy, a prophet, a priest. But when you're greedy, when they are greedy, all practice deceit. All practice deceit. When you're greedy, but all you want to do is gain. All you want to do is eat more. All you want to do is spend more. All you want to do is get more. And that's what greedy people do. Now in Ezekiel 16:27 says, "So I'm stretched out on my hand against you and reduced your territory. I gave you over to the greed of your enemies, the daughters of the Philistines, who were shocked by your lewd conduct." So the Lord judged them and gave away, reduced their territory, and gave your greedy stuff to your enemies, to the daughters of the Philistines, who were shocked by your lewd conduct. Shocked by your lewd conduct. And that's what greed is. It shocks people because the conduct, it destroys relationships. Greed destroys cities. Greed destroys countries. Like they say, 10% of the United States is rich. 2% of that rich is billionaires. And you know what happened to the other 90%? Well, they don't have. They don't have because they can't take from the billionaires. But we have some billionaires that give away their money and support groups and, and and help out when they can. And of course, they can help out anytime because they're billionaires. What are you going to do with $60 billion? You can't spend it. You can't take it to your grave. So you should contribute to poverty. Contribute to those who need. Contribute to those people living on the street. Contribute to those nations that have the hurricanes and kill 60,000 people. Dedicate some of that money that you have to help others. Now you have to understand, in the United States, that a certain percentage of your income is taxable. And if you give money to people, then you actually get a tax credit, a tax break. But I mean going above and beyond that tax break, even though you don't get a tax break, if you give away, a big sum of your money, you still live like a king. But you got to live in the eyes of the Lord. You got to help everyone else. God didn't give you those riches so you can be greedy and steadfast and hold on to that money. He doesn't give you that money. Every dollar you have is God's money. So you have to I think they lose their purpose once they get rich. And they just say, hey, I don't believe in God because I'm rich. I don't have to give because I'm rich. Have them make their own money. I made my own money. I came up from poor to billionaire. I did it myself, so they need to do it themselves. Well, that's wrong. That's why we have to lead people into the light. Lead people to God. And when they can help other people, when they have the funds to help people, then they need to help people. And that's what God has asked us to do. That's one of His commandments, to love thy neighbor, to help thy neighbor in need, and be fearful of Him and do what He asks. I'm Pastor Keith with MovementTowardsChrist.com. You can reach us at www.movementtowardschrist.com, or you can reach us at any podcast you listen to. And I just want to say, be blessed, spread the wealth, act like you're one of God's children. Be blessed.